Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. It depends where you are. Welcome to this Community Networks webinar organized by the Haitian Internet Society chapter with the support of Internet Society, with the support of HTIC, and also with the support of the Internet Society Foundation. It's a pleasure and honor for me to be here. My name is Shernon Osepa. I'm the Director of Caribbean Affairs and Development at Internet Society, and I will be your moderator for this and also for tomorrow's sessions. So today we are going to focus a lot on the Haitian landscape and also not only on the Haitian internet landscape, and also what are the possibilities, what are the opportunities for development. Because at the end of the day, we would like to see our region being developed, and also in this particular case, also in Haiti. So again, welcome. I see I have some challenge with some sound outside of my house right now, but okay, I'll see how we'll go with this. So, okay, first of all, I would like to invite Obed Sindy, who is the chair of the Haitian chapter, to give a few opening remarks, and then we'll move on with all the sessions. So Obed, share with us your vision with the community, give some opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shernon. Welcome to our first day of sessions on community networks. Sorry. We are happy within the Haitian chapter to host these prestigious panels as part of our CN Skills program, because we believe that training leaders can redesign the future of about internet access for all in Haiti. We are very good of more than 100 fellows. We have gone all the way, listening to speakers from everywhere and learning from them will help us understand that the future we imagine is possible. What we preach is common, because no one is happy when he feels forgotten. Special thanks to Shernon, Osepa, Coffin, Max Larson, and all the panelists. We all different. That internet is for everyone. Thank you Internet Society. Thank you ATIC. Thank you all. Thank you to all of you to participate in this great session with all these prestigious panelists. Thank you, everyone. I give the microphone to Shernon Osepa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Obed. So without further ado, we will start with the first session. And this session is entitled The Haitian Internet Landscape and the Need for Community Networks. We have some distinguished panelists in this particular session. The first one, we have Max Larson. He is the CEO of the company called Transversal. So it's an IT and ICT's company based in Haiti. And Max has been quite involved in regional development with respect to internet governance. So Max is one of the regional experts that we have in the Caribbean. The second panelist is also a good friend to us, Wilson Fievre, who is, he has several hats, but I would like to focus on him right now as a special advisor to the government. Wilson has worked abroad outside of Haiti to let's say, some great IT companies out there in the US and elsewhere. And then he returned to Haiti because he wanted to make a difference to his country, to help his country to move on. So that is why he did return to his country. So, and right now he's one of the special advisors to the government in Haiti. So it's a pleasure, honor to have Wilson with us as well. And the third panelist of this session is our own Jane Coffin, who is the Senior Vice President for Internet Growth. So all these access and community networks related strategies, Jane is the one who, at the end of the day, is responsible for all of these. So let's get started to get a better view what is going on in Haiti with respect to the Haitian internet landscape. And I think the best person to explain this is Max Larson. So Max, please share with us what the internet landscape in Haiti is all about. The floor is yours, Max. Thank you.
Thank you, Shernon. And I would like to say that it is a real pleasure for me to be part of this distinguished panel. So what I will do, as you mentioned, I will make a brief presentation regarding the Haitian internet ecosystem. So let me share my slides so that I can start. So when we are talking about the internet ecosystem, what exactly we are talking about? We are talking, usually the internet ecosystem is the term used to describe various communities, organizations that have organically evolved to guide the operation and development of services, technologies, and infrastructure that make up the internet. So what we are going to do in the couple of slides is to try to put that in the context of Haiti. In the context of Haiti, when we are talking about the internet ecosystem, we are talking about the policy, the education sector, the users, the services, and the infrastructure. The policy is the government, the parliament, the regulatory authority. They are responsible to set the tone regarding the policy for the development, for specific policy regarding internet penetration and technology adoption. We also have the second pillar, which is the education. Capacity building is very important in the sphere of technology. So here we have the educational institution, academic institution, university, technical centers, and also some international organizations and NGOs that are involved in education and capacity building. And then we have the third pillar, which is the users. And so every time we are thinking about an institution or an individual using the internet, it is he is or she is a user. And here also we are talking about various institutions, public, private institutions, NGOs, international organizations that are users of the internet and other related technologies. We also have organizations of users like the local chapter of ISOC and Association Haitienne pour le développement des technologies de l'information et de la communication, ATIC, and other organizations here as well. And they are really important in the local internet ecosystem. And then we have the services. Here we have critical services like .hc, the Haitian domain name, but we have also organizations that are producing services for the local internet community, but also for international consumption. We are thinking here also about the content producer in this category. So this pillar is also very important. And then we have the infrastructure. The infrastructure is all the internet service providers. Today in Haiti, we have 5 internet service providers sharing the Haitian market. We also have an internet exchange point, which was established back in 2009. And all the CDN content delivery network that are connected along the ISPs to this internet exchange point. So such as Akamai, Facebook, Google, Cloudflare, PCH, the F-Foot. So those are really critical component as part of the infrastructure pillar, and all of that constitute the Haitian internet ecosystem. So obviously, when we are talking about community network, and you can see that internet community network relate somehow to every single pillar of the so-called local Haitian internet ecosystem. So the government has a role to play in it in terms of establish good policy. We have to take care of the education side of capacity building to make sure that we empower technically and also other important aspects those who are going to lead those initiatives. We have the community of users. Obviously, in the case of a community network, those who are usually marginalized because of their revenue, so their economic background, their social background, or their geographic background as well. Here I'm thinking about those who are living in rural area. And then obviously we are talking about service in the case of community network, how to make sure that those initiatives are sustainable, and also the part of infrastructure, which is actually really important in terms of building the physical infrastructure that are going to be like the foundation for the community network. So I talked briefly about the 5 internet service providers sharing the local market. Typically, the ISP in Haiti will be based in the capital city in Port-au-Prince, but they have various POPs, point of presence, all around the country, mainly in urban areas. And the ISPs are also connecting to the internet exchange point. They might have their on net, that means their own local CDN, but they can also have access to content delivery network, cache servers from, as I mentioned, from Google, Akamai, Facebook, etc., at the internet exchange point. So the internet exchange point, as I said, is very important in the local internet ecosystem, because it helps add robustness and reliability to the global Haitian internet infrastructure. And the last part is the connection to the international, which is done mainly via 2 optical fiber. So here you can have an idea. At the bottom of this slide, you can see that we have 2 fiber actually that are used to connect Haiti to the rest of the internet. And there is also another initiative, a private one led by one ISP who is using a terrestrial fiber to connect to the rest of the internet via the Dominican Republic. So basically, this is what the internet infrastructure looks like today. And let me finish with the last two slides to give you an idea about the key indicators. And please look carefully at those indicators, because they are putting the finger of the why. Why do we need to do more in terms of infrastructure and in terms of services, in terms of reaching out to more people to help increase the internet penetration in Haiti. If you look at the percentage of households with computer, it is around 10%. The percentage of households with internet access and percentage of individuals using the internet access. And please look at those figures and compare them to what it looks in the Americas and in the world. And you will see that we have a lot of room for improvement. Let's try to be positive and put it like this. And this is from the ITU report measuring the information society. And it is important to note that we have a lot of things to do. And the internet community network, as we will see during this panel and those coming presentations, can help help us increase the internet penetration in Haiti. So basically, internet service coverage today in Haiti affect almost the majority of the countries. Urban population is important to mention that. That means when we are talking about rural area, a large portion of the Haitian population are lag behind. But the rate of low, and this is due to a combination of factors, the high cost of the services and the high cost with regard to the revenue, which is very low of the average Haitian, and also the low literacy. This is from the Diagnostic du secteur des technologies en Haïti, published by the World Bank. Thank you very much. Merci en pile. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Max Larson. So our next presenter is Wilson Fievre, and he will be focusing a bit more on, let's say, strategies that the government will be focusing on to get more people, let's say, to develop the country, to get more people, to give more people access to the internet, but not only to the internet, in a holistic way to look at ICT's development. So, Wilson Fievre, please go ahead.
Thank you, Shernon. Thanks everybody here. It's a pleasure to participate in this prestigious webinar and basically to try and to gather together to see how we can help Haiti to improve. First of all, I understand that Mr. Shernon introduced me as a special advisor to the government. I am currently the Director General of the Institute of Haitian Statistics and Informatics, with the mandate to oversee the technology and as well as the national statistic in the country. So I have a lot of interest in this new development that's going on, and the interest that ISOC is bringing to looking at internet community. It's a big thing. It's even for the government. I speak in behalf of the government. This is a huge thing if the role is properly defined, because the internet still, just like Mr. Larson just explained. And again, I congratulate Mr. Larson for this wonderful presentation that's to lay out really the problem that we have in this country. And internet, it's one of the main core problems that we have in terms of to develop and so many things. And if you're looking at today, we are facing a pandemic in the country, just like the rest of the world. And there are a lot of things that we could have done if we have better coverage of internet. We are suffer in that aspect in terms of what to do and how to protect ourselves, even in a solution and technological solution to help trace and deal with a pandemic. We don't have this capability. So, and with that said, I don't have any PowerPoint to present, but I'm going to talk about what I think we need, especially the institution that I am leading today has a big role to play in this, because we have a decree on act just come out on July 1st that basically putting the focus on my institution to help the government implement the technology in the country, and especially in the public administration, and then to take the lead to see what's need to be done. One key priority for me is the infrastructure of the digital transformation. But to do this digital transformation, what is the infrastructure? The digital infrastructure supposed to look like? Digital infrastructure cannot be exist without internet. Internet is the war base to do that. The government, thinking about the financial sectors, we're talking about the financial inclusion to help the unbanking people have access to bank. So that can only be a success achievable by having the clear digital infrastructure. We don't have that. We have many partners that's helping us today. World Bank is one of the key partners, is working on the digital access for Haiti. So in terms of broadband, we're looking at to see what to do with them. We would be really not further in this project, but because of this pandemic, that's kind of slow us down. I've been involved with ISOC since the last 2 years for multiple presentation, the local chapters in Haiti, leading by Obed, and then we have the chance to talk many times with Mr. Shernon, and then many aspects. I would like to see, I like the idea of the internet community, but in the community network that we want to build, how do we want to do that? We have about 146 commune, but I mean the big city in the country, but and then we have 575 rural section. Most of them doesn't have coverage, and as I said 2 years ago to Mr. Shernon, how do we start looking at to do a pilot project to start demonstrate to the government the capability, what the value, in other words, the value that ISOC can bring, and to implement, to help implement that. The internet is solely controlled today by the private sectors, which is the five provider that Mr. Larson just mentioned. But keep in mind, they are there to do business. So they bring the coverage to the area where they have the density of the population, where most of the mass population are. That's how they bring the coverage. The places they don't have many people, they don't have coverage. So internet today represented the metropolitan area of the Port-au-Prince, which is almost, represent half of the population, but not exactly half, but because we have about 3-4 million people in the metropolitan area. Those are the people that have the privilege and the luxury to have internet. And then we have 10 big cities. So if the cities are the main cities in the country, what we call the department, as each of them has a top city there, they have coverage of internet. But outside of that, some cities, if they are lucky, they have coverage. So if you, from a government perspective, you can see the challenge to deliver education if we don't have the internet. You can see the challenge to deliver healthcare, because we have to be able to reach these people for vaccination, to have digital mapping, to be able to locate them, to to communicate with them. That's still a challenge today, because we cannot reach them, especially when they have a hurricane and their area, their technology could bring easily, let's say that to reach the people, to send the message, but they don't have the appropriate technology in those area coverage to speak to them. And then while we are in the 2020, if you look at the previous chart by Mr. Larson, when he start to comparing the key indicator, those are very important things to looking at when you compare them to the rest of the world and even in the America. Haiti is at the bottom line. So ISOC would be playing a big role to help bring something there. But I know the task is huge here. It's not small, because if you go, example, if you go to the across the border, at our neighbor, yeah, they are, we would say 20 or 50 times like more advanced than Haiti. So development of ISOC there would be a small task, and compared to development something in Haiti. So again, I welcome all the ideas, and I am also open to work with anyone from ISOC. At the role that I play today, I am the front line, representing the government in the implementation of the technology, and anything value that can be there, I am welcome them. And I do already know the idea what we can do, but what I would like to see is acting very fast and identifying certain area, and especially where the people don't have the privilege to have the access. Most people, we're talking about the 3G communication somewhere, but the 3G communication is barely exist in the country. And in terms of population, you can see it's about, probably just like Mr. Larson showed, it's about 50 something percentage. Yes, because the reason you see that many, because most of the mass of population live in the metropolitan area of the Port-au-Prince. But the 50% does not equal exactly in terms of the coverage area, and that's coverage. It's where the people are. So this is something I just thought to bring in. Most of the country don't have that coverage. I don't have to travel very far, and then I can see I cannot even send a WhatsApp message. So this is how bad it is. So what can be done? I am stay open to see what ISOC and the local chapters can bring, and then I'm open. I have people that can work with them, and then to see what together we can develop. So that's all I have to say. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Wilson. We have another presenter on this panel, Jane Coffin. Some people call her even the Mother Teresa of the internet. So I think this is a very appropriate name. So Jane, please share with us your thoughts with respect to community networks and other access promoting strategies that internet society is focusing on. Please
thank you. Yes, thank you, Shernon, and thank you, everyone. It's a true honor. I should say bonjour à tous. It's a true honor to be here today. And as Shernon probably has said, I have been dedicated to connectivity for over 20 years, and my work at the Internet Society with amazing partners like all of you and our teams is really about our core vision, which is the internet's for everyone, and we're trying to get more connectivity to people right now. When we look at COVID, particularly, it's keeping us accountable and honest for the things that haven't happened, where the connectivity does not exist. We have an opportunity, a very positive opportunity now, to shift a difficult situation and change it. As Wilson and Max were saying, the time is now. There's a infrastructure for us to deploy, and there are ways to do this. And so we have an opportunity with community networks and through all of you, the people, moving forward, creating decisions that make better connectivity, because we're seeing the need for positive decisions to be made by many right now. I will say that the infrastructure that you're talking about, community networks or the IXP that Max has helped put together over the years, depends on humans, all of you. It depends on people. You'll often see me tweet that it's the human nets that build the nets. Without people like you trained, given the right tools and information, we wouldn't have better connectivity. So it is about putting the tools in people's hands, giving you the experience, because your country is going to be different than any other country. There are going to be parts of your country that are different inside the country, and you know best at the local level what to do. But we're here to bring you some international experience as well. We need to map connectivity. We know that people are unconnected. We need to prove to policymakers, regulators, and others that we need to help them map the unconnected. COVID has shown us that the internet has been a lifeline, but it's a lifeline for some, not all. And so I think with what we have now, where we have better, cheaper technology that we can deploy in community networks, we just need to all come together. And we thank the chapter, by the way, and the foundation for helping us kickstart this. And of course, Shernon in the region and all of you. So I have a challenge for us. We need to create change, and it's through all of you as the catalyst for change. So here are the 5 things. The better mapping, work with the government, work with your people on the ground to show where people are unconnected, not as a challenge, but as not as something that you would confront them with, but as a fact. We're trying to do this around the planet, where we're talking about the fact, okay, if people aren't connected or if they can't afford connectivity, let's find a cheaper solution. And we have complementary solutions in community networks. The team will talk a bit more about that. The second challenge is we need to change funding mechanisms. Universal service is a potential way to fund not only community networks, but max IXPs too. We need to change the old mentality and the shift we have in regulations and policies. We need to change licensing, make it simpler. Mexico has done this with social purpose licensing. The team has more data on that, but I just want to say we have to look at better mapping, changing universal service and funding, changing licensing to make it simpler. Look at spectrum. I know this is a scary word for everyone, but I mean, seriously, if it's not being used, share it. There's shared use, secondary use, and there's direct allocations. There is a way to share that spectrum. Community networks usually use, depending on the type of network, some use Wi-Fi, so it's unlicensed spectrum in many regions. In our region, which Haiti is a part of from a spectrum side with the ITU, there is a very strong unlicensed spectrum use. So this is important that we take advantage of that. And the last thing I would say is that other than spectrum being made available, it's number 4. Number 5 is that use the beta sites. Wilson, you take the beta sites with some colleagues, start to look at places where we can actually get community networks started and keep the government informed about what's going on, so they're a key partner. But take those betas and make them, improve them as you go, so that that's a better test for new networks that come in. So get started, don't wait too long. We have the tools and the people that can help you. So the key thing is to get started. And I think the rest of the panelists will be here to tell you how to do that. So quick recap, better mapping, change the funding mechanisms, and we can help you with that. And you can talk to the bank as well. Change licensing, make it simpler, get spectrum out there and make it more available, and work with us to get started on beta sites so that you can start to do this across your country. The mapping is super important. Again, I didn't want to take too much time. I thank you very much. This is a serious thing for me because we now are being held accountable for what hasn't happened as far as connectivity is concerned. So now we have this amazing opportunity. So let's take it, and we're here to help you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. I think we have a challenge. We are running a bit late. So what I will do, I will go through all the sessions, and then finally at the end, we will still ask, let's say, a few questions. I'm looking in your direction, all of you that are, let's say, watching this webinar. I'm asking your indulgence. I know we have started a bit late, so I'll be asking you, like, give us like 7 more minutes after the hour in order for us to focus on this webinar on a more holistic way. So I thank you in advance for that. So respecting your time, let's proceed with that, with the next session. And we will be focusing now on policy and technical recommendations for community networks. As you may know, when we're trying to deploy a community network in one particular country, we may face some policy challenges, because sometimes maybe you don't have particular policy in place to deploy a community network. So we will focus a bit what could or should be done in order for us to still deploy community networks in a given country. And also, once you have policy in place, you cannot just continue talking about it. At the end of the day, we would like to see community networks being deployed in a given country. So that is why you have the technical aspect of that as well. So in this session, we will be looking at two aspects. We will be looking at the policy side of it. What are the policies that should be in place in order for us to deploy community networks in a given country? And also the technical part, how should we be dealing with this? And for this session, we have two key colleagues within the Internet Society, because they are the leads on what we call community network within Internet Society. So you cannot do anything with respect to community network within Internet Society without talking to these two guys. The first one is Max Stucchi. So he is the project leader, and he has a wonderful deputy, Juan Peirano, who is helping him in that regard as well. So just look good at their faces, because they are the ones that we need if we would like to deploy community networks, not only in the Caribbean, but all around the world. So let me start with Juan. What are the implications? So when a given country would like to develop a community network, what would you say are the policies that should be in place if we would like to explore a community network in a given country?
Thank you very much, Shernon. I don't know, Max, because we had planned with Max for him to start talking with technical, and then I will take on the policy. But for us, it's the same. Shernon, do you want me to start with the policy and then we get to the technical part?
Yes, because normally you first talk with, let's say, the stakeholders to put the policy in place, and then we go when we move on with the technical part. So, but it's up to you guys. I don't want to jeopardize what you have planned. So if you feel comfortable starting with the technical part, I'm fine with that as well. So you decide.
Max? Well, in that case, I think, Max, you can start, and then we move back to the... Yeah.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning and good evening. We just have a very quick presentation about this, because as Shernon introduced, we have different challenges that we are all facing, and we have technical and policy challenges. We have to look at the devices we want to use, at what upstream, so what ISP we want to we find good to connect to. We have to think about power. We have to look then at the policy. So we have these two big groups, and at the Internet Society we have sort of divided ourselves, where I put more emphasis on the technical aspects of running community networks, and then Juan is the policy expert you can relate to. We have actually many more technical experts, many more policy experts. We're not the only ones there, but we are the ones that look more deeply into community networks. So I'll leave more time for Juan in a moment, but what is important here actually that connect everything are the local champions. We call them like this. Who are they? I see 50 people on, I think last time I looked at the number of people connected here. We had 50 people on the webinar. 60. And 60, okay, even better. And so each and every one of these 60 people on the webinar can be champions, can be people who decide to do something, change their community, make things happen. There are lots and lots and lots of challenges. So in my previous work experience, I come from an organization called RIPE NCC, but before that, I started my own ISP. We're talking about almost 15 years ago, but we were amongst the first ones in Italy, that's the country I come from, that started with providing wireless service. So we had lots and lots of challenges, from choosing the devices we wanted to use to, I have stories about power, about going during the night on top of a mountain to refuel the diesel generators because we needed power on that tower. And those are sometimes things that get left behind when people start looking at community networks, but these are important. So looking at the first two aspects of the technical side, and let me say there's a lot more. I know you will also have, or you already had a course on community networks. We have plenty of material we can point you to. But the most important things, like most important groups, are defining the devices. And they depend on the regulations and the spectrum available. And Juan will tell you more in a moment. Some of the makers are MikroTik, Ubiquiti, Cambium, Sice, and others, depending on what part of the spectrum you use. Some are suggested more than others. If you want to start and you have the availability, I would say look at MikroTik and Ubiquiti, because those are the cheapest ones. They're not able to provide as much bandwidth as other makers, as other devices, but for starting, they're more than enough. They're more than good, let me say. But then also the choice of upstream. You need to connect your community network to the internet. And I wrote here, friendly ISPs might help. Why? Because sometimes ISPs see community networks as competitors, but that is not always the case. Actually, community networks, in almost all the cases, they help provide coverage for internet access in areas where these ISPs, they would never think of going and providing coverage, because probably it wouldn't be economically feasible. Or you can team up with the government, with public utilities. I know examples of countries where there was a chance to run fiber using the same ducts as the electricity ones. So the government gave access to the electricity poles and the ducts to run fiber. And then there can be Wi-Fi backhaul, there can be satellite. So there are many, many choices you can make when you look at this, when you look at upstream. And then power. The utility power is something that we give for granted in many cases, but this is not always possible. So in a country like Haiti, well, I come from the north of Italy, we are foggy land, so solar panels were not really an option for us when I ran my own ISP. But in a country like Haiti, I would suggest looking at solar panels, maybe wind, because maybe you also have lots of wind in the area, or a combination of the two. Solar during the day, wind during the night. They can be a good combination together with some batteries. So this is just I would say the 101, the 101. What are the three biggest categories of issues to look at, but for technical? But then there is policy, and then here I let Juan talk about it because he's the expert.
Thank you very much, Max, and thank you to the organizers of this webinar. This is a great pleasure to be here. Jane already mentioned this, but from ISOC and from ISOC team, we believe that we are truly at a turning point regarding policies that impact internet access. And this is due to the COVID crisis. It has shed light on the importance of connectivity and infrastructure in a very direct way. All the digital divide was there, but COVID gave us a weird chance to make it very visible to all, especially in terms of policy. And from a policy perspective, I would like to use a quote from Jane that is here, that she says that the genie is out of the bottle. So we now know that we need to make these changes, and it is clear for all that we need to do. And so it's our opportunity and our duty to make and consolidate the community network as a complementary access solution to the traditional models that are for connectivity out there. And with this in mind, let me focus on these three key aspects of policy: licensing, spectrum, licensing, and funding. We love acronyms at the Internet Society, so that's why we call it SLF. Next slide, please. But you might have noticed that Spectrum had a small start also, because today we're focusing on Spectrum, but it's important to remember that several community networks rely on wired solutions. This means copper or fiber, as Max was saying. And we have several examples around the world. One of them being Wi-Fi, one of the biggest and oldest community networks in Spain. And Max already also mentioned the one in Kyrgyzstan called Susamirnet, that relies on the electricity post to also make the community network through wire solutions. But in this case, I would like to focus on Spectrum, because as Jane mentioned, more often than not, the community networks rely on wireless technologies. Basically, in a nutshell, we need to advocate for community networks to be able to access Spectrum as a public resource in as many frequencies as possible. In many cases, and for historical reasons, large portions of Spectrum, and when I mean large portions of Spectrum, I mean a large chunk of frequencies in that electromagnetic spectrum were allocated by regulators to certain services to avoid interference, or even for security reasons. For example, the military requires some set of spectrum, satellites another one, and there are others. But with the advancements of technology, these advances allowed for a wider and much more flexible use of spectrum without this interference. So now we have an opportunity to bring policies that foster these new technologies to be used and to better use the spectrum. And for example, we have TV white space. TV white space are basically the spaces that the TV channels are lifting behind in the spectrum, because in the old days, when you had regulators had to allocate spectrum for TV channels that were analog, they needed to have a band in between those channels to avoid interference. Now with digitalization, that band is getting it's not that necessary. So there are small chunks of spectrum between TV channels that can be used to transmit data. So TV white spaces, that's how they are called, are a solution that community networks are other complementary access solutions can use to actually provide service to in remote areas. Another example are IMT, international mobile telecommunications, and this is a tricky one because these frequencies are very valuable around the world. We are speaking about frequencies in the LTE bands, in the 900s, in the 1800s. So these are very valuable for service providers. But the good thing about this frequencies and the spectrum is that if you are not using it, you can share it. And this is something that Jane already touched upon, because sometimes regulations allow for providers to have policies that allocate the whole spectrum for a whole nation or a bigger area that they actually need to for that spectrum. So there are pockets of unused spectrum around that the infrastructure that the service provider has. So it is very important for us to move forward and to be more innovative in the use of spectrum and sharing it in places where it cannot be shared. And this is something that we can do from a policy side, we don't need more technical solutions. With policies that can dynamize that allocation of spectrum, we can do it. And finally, we have, as another example, we have Wi-Fi. It is, Jane mentioned as well, that it is very, very widely used at home. We know that in many countries, Wi-Fi is unlicensed spectrum. That means that it doesn't require a license to be used under certain circumstances. So that is a certain circumstances of power or reach or practical use. So we know that we have 2.4, 5 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz now. That's the new band that's coming out there. And again, this is a place where policies can play a big role for community networks, because we can think about in rural or remote areas to use policies to foster the use of Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi bands that in many cases are unlicensed, so they're basically open for all to use. And when I mean unlicensed, I'm not saying that they are unregulated. That's a different thing. So the regulator knows that these bands are unlicensed, so they don't require a license, but they can be used as an option with certain tweaks in power and uses to make community networks possible. Next slide, please. Thank you, Max. Now a little bit about licensing. Jane mentioned this as well. We need to make sure that community networks, let me step back. Community networks are small, generally non-profit operators from the community, and generally applying for a license as a telecommunications operator or an internet service provider, it's very hard. It's not easy. Sometimes you need lawyers, you need certain knowledge of the legal backgrounds in the regulation. So in the case of community networks, we need to foster licensing frameworks that are light, that are easy to understand, and that are cheap and or free for solutions and complementary solutions such as community networks. We have many examples of this. In Mexico, we have social purpose licenses in Uganda as well. And there are other places that are trying to implement light licensing, very light licensing for solutions that come from non-profit organizations or community networks. And finally, next slide. Thank you. And this is something else that Jane mentioned, and the funding. There is funding available in many regions, and we need to think about, in terms of policy, how to use it in innovative ways, because it's not easy for a very small community to get to that funding, because sometimes maybe $5,000 or $10,000 in a whole year makes a huge difference for a community, and doesn't make that much difference for a large provider. So we need to make sure that we have policies in place that allow for very small operators as community networks to get a little bit of this funding to be used. And in this case, universal service funds are a clear example of that, and a clear example of how governments can implement small budget or small grants or small pieces of this budget, and not large as they are using right now with large operators, for bridging this digital divide that there is in remote and rural areas. And I think that's mainly it of my part. We're happy to hear more questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Juan. We are running a bit late, so I will not take questions right now. So what we will do, we will move on now with the last session of today. And tomorrow we will be having a session focusing on 3 country cases. We will be looking at Colombia, we will be looking at Mexico, and we will be also looking at Georgia. So then we will get a holistic view what has happened in all these countries with respect to community networks. So tomorrow we also have 20-minute time slot to discuss, let's say, way forward. So what I would like to do is then let's just finish, let's say, the official presentation today, respecting your time, and then tomorrow we can also, let's say, focus on the questions after we have seen all, let's say, the three country cases. So, and that would be also a reason for you to come tomorrow as well. So without further ado, let me invite then my two good friends, Jean-Marie Altema and also Reynold Guerrier. Jean-Marie is he's the CEO of Profit Development Consulting based in Haiti, and Reynold also CEO of GSIS, which is also an ICT organization in Haiti. So what I would like to hear from you guys, we have been talking about community networks, and I think all the presenters in one way or the other focus on what are community networks. It's very great to have a community network, but what are we going to do with this? And this is exactly what I would like to hear from you guys. What are the development opportunities that you see out there that we can be focusing on once we have a community network deployed in Haiti? So let me first start with Jean-Marie. Each one of you can have like 5 minutes focusing on what are the development opportunities that you see in Haiti. Once we have, let's say, a community network, or once we have other access promoting solutions in Haiti. So, Jean-Marie, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. This is a pleasure to be with you. And thank you for the invitation. I'm very excited because I heard people talking about infrastructure, talking about licensing and spectrum, which is I think the base for developing good infrastructure in the rural area. So I think the best thing is what we are doing now. That means discussing together, having people from government, from civil society and private sector probably. It is the whole ecosystem that Max Larson was talking about. For myself, I think if I need to talk about like to promote access in the rural area, I think we have three things that we need to focus on. We have the infrastructure. That means having a policy for spectrum, which is very important. As a former director of Conata, I can tell you that spectrum is very important. Since you can have physical infrastructure, fiber, and things like that, but we need to manage the spectrum. And secondly, I think we need to see the fiscal environment for investment globally, for investment for the private sector globally, but also in order to help people to have access to this kind of technology. Even we have poor GDP in Haiti, but we need a fiscal environment to help to have an environment where people can invest and to have people having access to the technology. And also, I see the opportunity to talk to the local authorities. Local authorities, because it's very important, as you know. Politically, when you have a mayor like in the countryside with less infrastructure in his community, then sometimes you can face issues then to implement some kind of technology because they said, okay, we need this, we need that. I think about that because when I was at Conatel, we had an issue with the mayor saying that, okay, this operator will not have this tower in my community. So that means for this we need harmonization in the action. I think globally, since we have all the stakeholders, we have the state, we have the private sector, we have the civil society. We should add also the university and the training centers. Training centers because we need to empower people. We need to train them we need this also to be addressed. And also, I will see the media, which is a good partner now, because they will disseminate the information about accessing to the information. Then, by I would say those decisions would help to provide new services, to provide innovation. That means if you have in the infrastructure and you don't have new services, you don't have innovation, people will not come to use those infrastructure. I think if we see globally with all the stakeholders, as I said, fiscal environment for the government, we also the local authorities, having them on board with in the discussion, and also having the universities and also the media. I think that will help to create an environment for the population to have access, then with new services and innovation. That's okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Jean-Marie. So I would like to invite Reynold Guerrier then to focus on development opportunities for Haiti as well. Reynold, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you guys for having me. I'm very glad to be with you this morning. So I'm sharing my screen so you can see two slides I just prepared for this presentation this morning. One thing besides the ecosystem that Max and Wilson talk about this morning, one thing I would like to mention, it's the population of Haiti. The population of Haiti is 60% youth. So, and young people that are willing to learn. And they showed a lot of interest to technology. So I think when I start like this, it's a big opportunity to put those people at work. And when we are talking about community networks, there is a real challenge here, because the penetration today, as Max stated this morning, it's very low compared to what we have in around the world. And one thing I would like to emphasize here, it's penetration. It's not only coverage, but it's also coverage and affordability. In some areas, we have the coverage, but people can't afford broadband internet. So it's also a barrier to young people to access the internet. And besides that, we have in the big cities, some big cities has 3 and 4G, but the most coverage we have all over the country is 2Gs. So there is plenty of room to implement community networks. And to say, like Jean-Marie Altema just mentioned, we need to talk to local authorities. We need to talk to policymakers at the central government. We need to speak to big ISPs, particularly the leaders. We need to talk to them to make them understand that community networks is not, community networks are not competitors. It's just an extension of their network. So that's why we need to make them understand that we here, just because we are going to places that where they're not going, they're not want to go because it's not profitable for them. So I think in this, there is plenty of opportunities to implement community networks in Haiti. But besides that, once we have those people connected, there's something we need to go that needs to put people at work. And how to put those people at work? I think there is what are the demand in terms of opportunities, job opportunities around the world. I think we need to not only focus on installing, developing community networks, but also doing some coding class for them, particularly in mobile application, or learn them about cyber security. Give them the opportunity to work for call centers, because a young man, a young woman with a laptop and an internet connectivity can do a lot to improve his own life. And saying that, I think the IT opportunity led by LACNIC, that has been sponsored by LACNIC in Haiti, have been a great experience. But it was focused mainly on women, and get them trained is one thing, but trying to find for them job opportunities, it's the next step to go. Because you can have trained people, but if they don't work, if they can't make money out of it, there is a missing piece in the puzzle. And I think with this pandemic, there is an opportunity to convince people, if need be, that we must bring technology to all the layers of the population. Because people were locked down at home, and the only thing they have to communicate is to communicate with their family, with family members, with friends, and it was very critical for them to be connected. And I think with organizations like ATIC, ISOC, LACNIC, and other local or international organizations, we should present this part of this side of Haiti, because it's full of opportunity. When you have 60% of the population composed of young people, which is a workforce in every country, I think bringing them connectivity, giving them training, get them trained, and the missing piece is to give them the job opportunities so they can work and have money in their pocket. That's very light as a talk, but I would like to emphasize the youthness of the population. So I think it's the biggest opportunity that Haiti has today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reynold. As I did mention, we are facing some time constraints. So given that tomorrow we will be having session number 2, the second session, where we will be having a session on going forward, 20 minutes discussion. So then we will be addressing all the questions that we were not able to focus on today. So one last thing that I would like to say before I let Obed close the session officially. If you look at all the presenters that we had today, let's say, and I'm focusing now on the locals, on the Haitian presenters. All of them are very passionate with respect to the internet, and they're trying to. We know that Haiti has some challenges. But when we speak with these guys, all of them in one way or the other are very much committed to make Haiti a better place. We have seen, for example, Wilson Fievre. He has been working in the US. He could have stayed there, but he wanted to go back to his country to give a contribution to Haiti. And rest assured that at International Society, when I speak with colleagues as well, all of them are excited as well to give a contribution to what is going on in Haiti. As you may know, I've been interacting with you guys. I do love Haiti as well. I know Jane, so Howie, all of us, Max and Juan. So rest assured that we are here to help, to give the best we can. So I would like to invite you for tomorrow's session, where we will be focusing on 3 counter cases. As I did mention, Colombia, Mexico, these are in our own region. And we also have Georgia, which is in Europe. And then we can focus on best practices, what these countries have been doing, what the challenges and opportunities they had with respect to community networks. So again, thank you very much for coming today, and let's meet tomorrow, same time. And I promise you, we will be having 20 minutes discussion, and then you can ask all your questions. Okay, so Obed, just say a few final remarks and then invite the panelists for tomorrow as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shernon. I think you already conclude the meeting. I have to thank all the panelists, and thank you again, Shernon, for your support to AD. Thanks to Howard to help this happen, and all those who in the internet society who helps in this meeting. Thanks to all the 60.
Did we lose you, Obed? Okay, thank you all. See you then tomorrow. Thank you.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup. À demain. Bye bye.